making sure that you're engaging quality suppliers in the SEO space, I think is paramount.
This is Velocitize Talks, and I'm Lauren Cox. Today we have George Photios, co-founder of G Squared. Lovely to have you, George.
Glad to be here.
So to start us off, let's hear a little bit about G Squared.
Yeah, sure. So we're a digital consultancy. We've got core competencies across paid media, SEO, CRO, and web design and development. My side of the business looks after that performance aspect. But we look at how each of those channels play a role in nurturing a user through to conversion. And we have an integrated strategy team that sits across each of those to ensure that they each play their relevant part in nurturing a user through to conversion.
Yeah. So over the past few years, give me a little bit about like growth and development and focus for the agency.
Yeah, so as a business, we've during COVID, we sort of shifted our focus to more e-commerce brands. We, as a performance business, have always worked primarily with either e-commerce or lead generation, but sort of took a bit of a I guess shift to that e-commerce space. Yeah. We've really always looked at how we can apply a consultative approach to digital. So our team will work closely with clients to understand their businesses and essentially work as an extension of their teams. And through that consultative lens, we're able to provide I guess deeper insights into our clients' businesses and use that to sort of help drive success. So that's been a real important part of our growth, has been to make sure that we're driving good results for our clients, and it'll always continue to be.
Yeah. So is there something like really unique about G Squared that sets you aside from your competitors?
We focus on that consultative approach and on our integrated strategy team. There are sort of two key USPs. Yeah. The integrated strategy team basically serves as a key point of contact for any client that engages us across multiple services. Yeah. It allows clients to work with a strategist rather than an account manager, and they're able to provide insights specific to their business on how channels are performing, and also shift the focus from, for instance, paid to organic search if we notice opportunities there, and vice versa in sort of key promotional periods. So that integrated strategist and that consultative approach that they are able to establish with the client is our key point of difference. Yeah.
So at G Squared, your services focus on a lot of top of funnel activities, but down to conversion. So tell me a little bit about your engagement phase at top of funnel with your clients.
Sure. So it depends on the client and their objectives, but generally we'll look at paid and organic channels and in the roles that each of those play at the top of the funnel in driving awareness. From a paid perspective, it's a lot of paid social and programmatic video, those types of channels. So looking to attract users based on interests or other sort of broader targeting, and introduce them to the brand through content and storytelling. For organic search, it's really about content. It's about how we can leverage content to drive top of funnel activity. So that's things like blogs, for instance, where we can write content that speaks to a certain topic and gets a user interested, positions the brand as a leader in that space, and then brings a relevant user in. From there, we look at, I guess, how they've engaged with the website and how they've engaged with that content to determine the relevant user journey and how they'll then progress through the funnel.
Yeah, okay, awesome. So you worked with Nick Scali, so one of Australia's premier brands in furniture, and you helped them move from like storefront really to e-commerce. So what, showroom to, digital room. Yeah. How did that process go, and what are the activities that you helped them with specifically? Was it paid social, and how did you bring them on? Because that purchase is a large purchase for someone to make, a sofa, for example, or, a dining set. So how do you engage your users and get them through there for Nick Scali?
So for them, we were aided by the fact that the client had developed a quick ship range of products. So quick ship range being a range of products that would ship quickly, as the name suggests. And they were the ones that were available and promoted more heavily online. When people are purchasing more high-end products, expensive things like couches, they want to sit on them. So they're going to go into a store or into a showroom, and they're going to want to try the product. But by focusing on those types of products, we're able to sort of create some sort of e-commerce path to purchase, as well as a path to a phone call or another type of conversion point, which might not necessarily be an e-commerce transaction. We helped primarily from my perspective, we did the website through that side of the business, but from my perspective, we help primarily with paid.
Yeah.
Now with the paid component, Nick Scully invests a lot in above the line. Most of their media spend goes into above the line. Everyone's familiar with their TV ads, for instance.
Yeah.
So branded search, for example, was really high, which is not something that we wanted to focus on from a paid perspective.
Yeah.
We wanted to use those keywords to capture new users. So the focus of paid search, for example, with them was about finding generic keywords, things like sofa or lounge or dining table, those types of search terms, and using that to bring a new group of users into the ecosystem. Branded search played the largest role, as it would for any brand like that, in terms of bringing traffic into the website. But we wanted that focus we wanted organic search to capitalize on that and leave organic search to capture most of that branded search traffic. And then the role of paid search was to bring in new users and new customers, and then nurture them through a path. So if they come in through a generic search term like sofa, we then look at retargeting through paid social, as well as some retargeting ads in paid search, to ensure that the users sort of remained within the ecosystem, or were then able to nurture them through to conversion.
Yeah. So does Nick Scully focus on paid search, paid social, like specifically?
So they both play a role. Paid search is a bigger focus for that brand.
Okay.
Just because of the, the intent that the user has. I think with any e-commerce brand or anyone trying to sort of drive results, online paid search is where you have to start. You've got the intent in the user straight away. So brands generally sort of tend to gravitate towards that before they look at channels like paid social, which obviously have benefits, but I guess realize in a different way, and particularly a brand that's investing so much in above the line as it is.
Yeah.
They don't need to use channels like paid social to drive awareness, so they can jump straight into paid search from the outset.
Yeah. So about 20% of traffic to sites are from either paid search or paid social. So what's the benefit of using paid campaigns in social media?
I think paid search can be really useful if you're using it to identify areas where you've got keyword gaps from an organic search perspective, and use it to fill those gaps. Paid social is a really powerful retargeting tool. So any e-commerce retailer should be or would be running paid social for retargeting. Catalog ads and that sort of thing can be a really useful tool to bring users back to a website and convert. So yeah, I guess they've each got different roles at different phases of the funnel, but even with only 20% of traffic, it can be really relevant traffic and really high quality traffic compared to other channels, and convert at a much higher rate as well. So it would be I'd think it'd be a higher percentage of conversions than it is of traffic.
Yeah. So with the rise of in content development through AI with apps like ChatGPT, how do you see that playing in with search in like real content?
So ChatGPT is being used and should be used for organic search to help scale content and write content at scale. One thing that I think is going to become a big factor in search is search engines being able to detect content that's being written by ChatGPT and other tools like that, and content that's written by people. And naturally, it's going to penalize websites that overuse AI written content. Having said that, it still needs to play a role. It can, there's a huge economy of scale that's been created in recent times, and be silly as a brand not to leverage that. So it's about editing the content. It's about using it to form a foundation of your content, and then using content editors and to edit tone of voice and to adjust the content based on make it more relevant to the brand. But like I said, it will have a big impact with search engines eventually. Whether Google is using it as a factor now, or they'll probably do some update which addresses it specifically.
We talked a little bit about digital content and search, but tell me advice that you would give a client as an example if they've got some key search terms, like we talked about with sofas, etc. earlier. Tell me a little bit about how you would try and advise them to get from like page 4 to page 1 in a Google search result.
So there's three main factors. So there's lots of factors, but three big factors with your SEO results are your content, technical condition of your website, and your link profile. There's things like user experience that are sort of coming to be a bigger part of SEO as well. I think the most important thing is to engage a good SEO agency and invest in SEO. It's like with anything. you're going to get what you pay for, but making sure that you're engaging quality suppliers in the SEO space, I think is paramount.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about how SEO can help be accelerated through user experience, better user experience.
So user experience is a Google ranking factor now, and particularly you'll see it with GA4, with engagement being a metric that's pretty front and center in terms of how we're reporting on website usability and website use. The user experience is really important in that respect, to ensure that users are finding what they're looking for, to ensure that the page links back to the search term and provides the user with what they've searched for. It's what a website strives out to do anyway, but I think now that it's a ranking factor as well, and it has impacts broader than just conversions, is going to be something that's more heavily focused on. And that's why CRO and SEO are really sort of coming together. There's this really strong crossover between the two, I guess, channels now, if you want to call them that.
Yeah.
So it's important that they both work in tandem to help drive both SEO results and then conversions as well.
And so you add like content and storytelling to that, and you should get a really good result in relation to like organic, paid, etc.
Well, with
results.
Personalization and user experience, it's more than just the content and the storytelling. It's the conversion rate, it's the colors of the buttons, it's the site navigation, it's the structure of the content. There's all those different sort of web factors that come into it.
Yeah.
But the content, of course, is important. You want to have content on your website that engages users. Companies write content primarily or initially to rank on search engines. That content then needs to be read by a human, and it needs to then play a role in converting the user, or nurturing the user and then converting the user.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think really needs to be focused on, is how can we leverage content to improve the user experience on the website, which ultimately benefits the website owner anyway, because it helps drive better conversions.
Yeah.
But that content aligning with the brand, the tone of voice of the content, ensuring that it helps drive a user to the relevant conversion point on the website, I think is really important.
There's a story out there that people talk about that the website will eventually become obsolete. So how do you think that a website can stay or remain relevant?
Websites need to be personalized. They need to be relevant to the user. Personalization has many different forms. I think something from an SEO perspective that we look at with personalization is how can we put content on a page that's relevant to that user. One thing that we've been focusing on recently is landing pages, and landing pages that are driven towards users, so persona-driven landing pages, and they're focused more on interests. And they look at what sort of interests a user has.
Yeah, like jobs to be done.
Yeah, so I'll give you an example with another client, which is Gumtree, and we're writing the online marketplace, and we're creating persona-driven landing pages for them. And for example, that could be for pets and pet owners, so dog lovers.
Yeah.
And through a dog lover landing page, you can have content that's about purchasing a new dog, different breeds of dogs, dogs that are good for kids, how to care for your dog, insurance for your dog, all these different topics that relate back to that key persona, which is a dog owner.
Yeah.
It brings users in through the really high volume top of funnel search traffic, and then keeps them coming back organically as well to come and check what new content's been written, and other things that they can sort of look at and read and learn about. And from that, you're able to nurture users down the funnel and into some sort of conversion. So whether it's to go and purchase a particular dog toy, or whether it's to purchase a new dog, or whatever it might be, dependent on that user, they've all got similar interests. If you're looking to purchase a dog toy, you're looking to purchase a new dog. Very different search patterns if you're in the middle or the bottom of the funnel, but at the top of the funnel, you're both interested in dogs.
Yeah.
So we're able to bring that user in, own the user earlier on when it's much cheaper to acquire the user.
George, I love to finish an interview with what gets you fired up, what gets you inspired in the morning.
So for us, it's really about driving results for our clients. I think that's for any agency, really. I think the most important thing for us is hitting a KPI and making our clients happy with the work that we're doing. And I think when we are able to achieve that for our clients, it creates a real energy in the office. It's something that everybody's aligned with. It's something that everybody's able to enjoy. And for me, that's what gets me out of the office, out of home and into the office every day.
Thank you. That was George Photios, co-founder of G Squared. Thank you.